Well, welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and as you can see, we've got an ancient Dodge parked up here. This thing's been parked for well over 15 years. Old buddy here was telling us this thing's been parked for 15 years, and we were looking at the papers and talking to him about it. Apparently, that was as of like 5-10 years ago. It's been here for about 15 years. We got the Camper Deluxe 1979 Dodge here, the Dodge pickup. Bad boy's the Adventurer SE in this nice green and tan color. I'm pretty sure it came with a camper top on it at one point. It has 2 fuel tanks, pretty minimal rust.
How long has it been sitting here? I thought you guys might have told me, but I
This is actually going to belong to my dad's buddy I grew up in the area with, and we both live in the same area now.
Over here, started it one time, and then after that, tried to start it one day, and then just didn't start. And after that, nobody's had it started.
He bought a house behind this truck. He's seen it parked out in this field and ended up talking to old boy out here and getting a hold of it. I think they did a trade or paid a little bit for it, but he wants me to help him figure out if I can get this thing pulled out of here, running. We have no idea about it. Let's see what old buddy has to say, but apparently it's been parked up, and I'm not even sure if the motor's seized up or not. Let's try and turn it over.
A little bit of movement with just a little bit of pressure is a good sign.
My old truck says that there never gets ran around. Oh, yeah. Start right up all the time and go forward. Yep.
Now, surprisingly, it has fluids. The oil looks fine. It's full of antifreeze. The overflow tank is cracked, but it had some JB Weld on it, so I'm pretty sure it's always been cracked. And I'm obviously going to swap the fluids out, especially the oil, before we do anything, if this thing even will run. But I think there's going to be a lot to look into. I don't think I'm going to even be able to get it running today now that I'm here.
Summer now, it is.
And that's for a couple of reasons. Now that I'm here, I've realized we don't have the key. I think I can jump the key. I was thinking I could hot wire it. I'm not seeing the 2 wires that it's going to be under here, so we could just jump start the relay itself. But you can actually see, it looks like there's some problems going on with the coil as well. I can see a crack on the backside right over here, so I think I'm gonna have to come back with some other parts tomorrow either way. But let's see what I can do while I'm still here, if we can get this thing to crank over. Now that I've got this hooked up, I'm not getting any power to that coil or the starter to crank it over, so I think we've got some sort of problem other than the key. I was using a power probe, so let's just hook a wire straight up to that, see if I can get this starter to crank over. We might have a problem with the relays or something.
Okay. Jump box. Then we do that, and then we tighten this up too. That might have been why it didn't start. The coil was loose and this was loose. Because it's weird because the power is attached to this battery all the time, so I'm guessing something right here completes the circuit. Let's see. Now my heart's racing. Those wasps. I see one on the thing that says I. I'm guessing that's ignition. I'm guessing if I give that power, it might work. Nope. One of these has to just get power and make it work, right? You hear the click? So probably one of these. EGR was this one. I don't think it'll be bad if I give anyone power. That's the one. All right, let's listen to it crank over. Pretty good.
Well, as you could hear me mention earlier, the wasps are crazy out here. I'm in between these 2 sheds, and the truck itself all have wasps on them, so wasps really get my adrenaline pumping, and so does that motor turning over, man. I'm excited this thing's gonna run now.
This video is sponsored by Nitigo Fuel Transfer Pump. Let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. I'm gonna be using it on this job. I've got to take some gas up with me in a red container. I've only got it in an old VP container. This shouldn't need to be filtered. That container and the gas were clean, I believe. But a lot of times I end up with fuel in a container that I need to filter or transfer to a different container. Let's check this out. You know it comes with the VP Racing fuel attachments. These are definitely my favorite jugs to use. Sometimes I just put my own hoses in them. But I'm excited to have a fuel transfer pump so I don't have to pick these things up and pour them out every time, because this hose right here is 70 inches. All right, now the other cool thing about this is you can either run it off of 4 AA batteries or just plug it in with a USB-C plug. Pretty sweet. Thing works great. It puts out almost 4 gallons a minute. You can see the flow out of there was tremendous. This is definitely a product I'd recommend. Check out the link in the description in the pinned comment if you want an extra special deal. Back to the video.
Anyways, I've been fighting wasps all day. I'm really stressed out about that. I think I'm gonna come back at night next time. My other problem is the fact that I was actually on the wrong relay earlier. As soon as I found the right relay for that starter, this thing cranked right over. Now, between fighting off wasps and just this brutal summer heat, I went ahead and checked for spark, and we didn't have any spark, so I'm not getting this motor to crank over any more than that, and obviously the key still got an issue, so I'm going to plan on bringing a new key core next time, and a new coil and some spark plugs and wires.
So if the one tune-up component I didn't bring, that coil was the one I need, because I don't know if I mentioned, I tried placing an order for all the tune-up stuff I thought I would need. I brought most of it with me, but the order didn't go through, so I had to run around to different parts stores this morning looking for all the stuff anyways. And the one thing I didn't bring was that coil because I forgot, but I had it on the last order that I placed and didn't go through. It doesn't, I'm not thinking it's getting spark though, so let's see.
Well, I went to hot wire this coil here. As I mentioned earlier, there was that little crack. It just got hot. You can see how big that crack is. I'm pretty sure it shorted out on the inside, and there was no spark coming out of this.
Okay, that looked like spark to me. Let's get this coil back unhooked. It's probably just shorting out in there. It was really hot when I touched it, so I'm sure it's just shorted out. And yeah, there's that crack by those when my buddy left. He left them hand tight. I didn't notice. I was trying to start it the first time, and when I went back, it was cracked. So got the gun rack. This truck is old.
Oh, man, she's solid. Yeah, I love that thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, you're just gonna hear brake cleaner being sprayed throughout the background of the whole video. Well, crazy, honestly, crazily enough, we were digging around in the glove compartment and we found the key and a key core, a matching key and key core. So I'm gonna tear this steering wheel apart real quick and fix that. Honestly, had a little bit of an accident here with the pick, and probably should have got a stitch or two, but it'll be all right. That honestly hurt for quite a while, and I'm actually honestly just, I can't believe that the key and the key core was in there. But that's all I'm going to be able to do today, so let's come back tomorrow night with some more parts.
Probably need to put a train horn in this too, you know.
That would be sick.
Just to make.
Oh well, it looks way brighter on camera. It's pretty late out here. I can't really see without a flashlight. Yeah, dude, I got out of here so fast last time. I knew I left a couple of tools because I couldn't find my 10mm or my 8mm. I thought maybe the 8mm was in my bucket, but those wasps were scaring me last time. That's one of the things I don't like. I'm afraid of is wasps. And I just said, I'm coming back at nighttime next time. So it's getting dark right now and the wasps are just chilling out once they started calming down at my place. And then I was like, time to head out. I just lit up a few that were chasing me with brake clean, so there's still a couple out. So I gotta swap out some parts. We didn't have any spark. Oh, left my spark tester too. I have a couple, so I had my other one. I was gonna say we didn't have spark at the plugs this time. And is that because we don't have power at the coil? I didn't actually test that. I just thought I better replace those plugs and wires either way. So I just ordered a few more things that came back. I had the wrong size filter. I didn't get the right size filter yet, so still has the smaller filter in there. Oh yeah. So that's a filter running to the line to the carb. We can put some sort of pump or siphon on that. And yeah, I'm not sure if this thing will run even if we get gas to that carb, but we got to get spark first. It is cranking over, but the crank sounds kind of uneven, so I'm going to do a compression test. And I was going to say I better have unplugged that battery before I left last time. Good, I did, so we'll be able to crank that a few times and get a compression reading. If there's a dead cylinder though, yeah. I'm not sure. I want to do all the plugs one at a time so I don't mix up the wires though. So I don't want to do 9 plugs and then find out there's a dead cylinder. I'm in a tricky spot. So that says, yeah. I thought I heard some blinking last time I had that battery on. That's why I unplugged it. Looks pretty good, but you could hear it kind of sounded uneven.
I mean, there's two things to say about that. While it barely sounded uneven, that thing was cranking over fast. That starter doesn't have a problem. That motor's nice and loose. Every single cylinder looked great. The compression was high on all of those. I think it was like 90 something at the lowest. So after that, I verified we got some spark, and I headed out because I didn't have any fuel or my buddy to help me pull this thing out of here. Now, we did have a couple of issues with the fuel. You can see we ended up just going with the red fuel tank up here inside the engine bay. My buddy's underneath just hooking up some lines from that through a filter. Both of the fuel tanks are pretty old, but they're plastic, so I'm not super worried about rust, but we are gonna have to get those taken off and cleaned before we can really use them, and probably replace those lines and filters. I'm not sure if there's a pump assembly inside of those tanks, or if we're just drawing it straight up from this pump on the engine. But after hooking that up, I can't think of anything else stopping this V8 from running.
Ready?
Yep. Oh yeah!
That's such a good I don't know.
Every cylinder started firing. That was crazy. That's such a good feeling.
That's so cool.
And just like that, almost 20 years later, this Dodge woke up and moved from its grave. I can't guarantee it'll get another 20 years of life, and it had some problems getting this far. We even had to take one of the wheels off and cut out some material just so it would fit on. The parts were hard to find. We couldn't find a replacement wheel after all that. It seems like it's got some tractor tires. And this thing's probably just gonna be a beater, but if it gets to live a few more years, it's gonna be great. Just listen to that thing purr as it rides off into the sunset. It's actually a really different, surreal feeling for me to revive something like this and to know I'm not gonna be able to work on it or really see it again. But to me, I get the most thrill and satisfaction out of saving some old car or truck like this from its grave. And if you like this video, I'm sure you're gonna love the ones I'm doing in the future. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you wanna help out, you can donate at the links in the description or become a channel member. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll try and respond to some positive comments. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace out. Keep those cars running. And that one was a job well done.